Welcome back to another podcast. This is going to be a little bit of a different one than usual, as it is the first solo episode that I've ever decided to film. And I've just been doing a lot of journaling recently. Obviously, the new year coming into the Super League season, and there's been a few bits that I've been sort of toying through. And I thought I'd just bring you through my thought process with all of it. So I'm going to be bouncing off my journal I have open in front of me and sort of just going through everything that I've been thinking about. But the first point that I sort of wanted to make is a bit of a reflection that I had and I wrote down is this: is it self-absorbed to enjoy what you're doing while documenting it and to try and bring value to this world while documenting it? And I was sort of reflecting on, I think it was a video that I made, and I go, am I being self-absorbed by doing this and actually enjoying it? Like, is this something that is arrogant in any way? And having toyed with the thought in my mind, I sort of decided that no, it's not really arrogant at all. But it was something that sort of got me thinking, and the direction that I wanted to take this podcast in is a little bit about setting big, fat, scary goals and thinking small versus thinking big. So one of the notes that I wrote down is it does nothing to think small. It does absolutely nothing for you to think small. Thinking small is obviously you're limiting yourself with your train of thought, and it's something that you can sort of get caught in. Is thinking small, because everyone tells you set small goals, small achievable goals, and you want to be on that sort of momentum train. But I actually think that you want to set big goals and move to achieve them. And the reason that got me thinking about this is because I feel like I've been guilty at times of setting myself too small goals and not scaring myself enough. Equally, at times in my life, to get to where I have, I've set myself such big goals and such big, outrageous goals that I've been speaking them into existence, literally. And that fear of who I could become, it is scary, but I didn't have that when I was younger. And then I found myself at times, in particular recently, setting myself goals that are too small, that I'm not pushing myself out of my comfort zone enough with. And it's one of those things that sometimes you find yourself in a position that as you start to be more successful, that putting yourself further afield and further out there actually becomes more scary, because what you have in that immediate circle of control is quite comfortable and your life is quite enjoyable, and you need to continue to set yourself really, really high expectations, high standards, and really scary goals. So another note that I put down was meaning in motion. You do stuff, you fail, you find out. So you want to always be in motion and you want to fail forward. I always talk about this when I have guests on the podcast as well, is that you want to be failing forward. You want to be constantly in motion. Standing still does absolutely nothing for you. And the idea, whether it's within rugby, within sports, within business, within life, is you want to be failing forward and you want to make a decision that, okay, I may not know what I want to do right now, but I'm going to do something. And if that doesn't work out, I'm going to pivot and I'm going to move again. So you want to be constantly failing forward. And failing forward is a skill and a practice skill, because it's scary. Who wants to fail? Nobody wants to fail. But if the frame of mind is, if you were 10 failures away from where you wanted to be, if you were 100 failures away from where you wanted to be, how quickly would you decide to fail? Or how quickly would you, if you're not going out to fail, how quickly would you try stuff that could lead to failure, but also could be the 100th time? You know, it's not the 100th chop of a tree that makes a tree fall down. It's the 99 before that led to the tree falling down. So I think that's an interesting frame of mind to have, is that you want to be failing forward and failing faster with a positive outlook, because you just shorten that loop. I spoke about this when I was making a reel recently, is that you want to shorten that loop between action, failure, learning, and get back to it. And within professional sports, that's one of the quickest things, that you have to be able to react. You have to be able to go into a video session, be put on show and say, Ronan, you didn't do X, Y, or Z. I need you to inside pressure more. I need you to stay square at mark, or whatever it may be. I need you to defend the lead before you go out the back. Whatever it may be, you need to be able to take that criticism, feedback, and shorten that loop. Do you know what I mean? You need to be able to literally take on board, it is a failure, it's constructive criticism, and you need to be able to take that on board and then move on as quick as possible. And as an athlete, you quickly learn to sharpen that skill of being able to move on as quick as possible. But it's something that takes practice, so it's not something that's going to come straight away. The next thing that I took down, and this one really stuck out with me. I think I've seen it on a reel or a podcast, but it's, you cannot beat someone who has decided that they will do whatever it takes for as long as it takes. I'm going to repeat that. You literally cannot beat someone who has decided to do whatever it takes for as long as it takes. So if you are willing to stay in this game for long enough, if you are willing to play sports for long enough, if you are willing to stay in business long enough, if you are willing to work on your physique long enough, and you decide to turn up every day with intention, that's the key, with intention. The reason we're not all Formula One drivers is because we don't drive with intention. We don't drive with the mindset and the intent that I'm going to sharpen my skill at driving. We just get in the car, go on autopilot, put a podcast on, put the radio on, and we're driving. But if you show up every single day with the intention that you want to get better for whatever you set out to do, you cannot be beaten. You cannot lose, because you either learn so much from the process and develop so much in the constant grind that you become a brand new person, or you get exactly what you want. And if you stretch that timeline out long enough, like I always say, success is an inevitability. It's not something that's just going to disappear, but you have to be willing to stay in this game for the long term. And that's something that I genuinely believe, and it's something that's so passionate within me, that I believe I've been put on this earth to do something and to make an impact. And it might sound absolutely bonkers, but I don't believe that I've been given these gifts and given these adversities to not go through them and not share the journey. Because whether I like it or not, I've been put in a lot of adversity. And this is not a violin story, but I feel like I've been given the gift and the ability and the passion for sharing this, because I've been meant to do it. That's my call, and that's what I feel passionate about. And in 10 years' time, it may not be my passion, and I may have pivoted again, but right now I'm passionate about sharing my journey and sharing my experiences through literal learned experience. It's not something that I've made up on the spot. It's not some story that's been fabricated. It's genuine stuff that's happened to me, and this journey through professional rugby, and to get to where I am now, which is back in the Super League and back in a Super League setup, is something that I dreamt about. But it's not something I dreamt about my whole life. I'd be lying if I said that. Because simply, I'm not from a place where Super League was even a thing. I grew up playing rugby union. But again, going back to the point, is that I believe that I've been put on this earth to share this journey. And that's why I share this stuff. That's why I jump in front of a camera and share the message. And that's why I'm filming a solo podcast right now, because that was a bit spooky. And I debated the idea of a solo podcast for a while. But you know what? I wouldn't be the person who I say I am. And there wouldn't be any point in me talking about any of this if I wasn't going to go and do it myself. So that sort of leads me into what I wrote down. And this was the idea around this whole podcast, is I think I set my 2026 goals too small. Now, I don't really like sharing goals ahead of time, because they're for the whole year, and there's some personal, there's some within my business, there's some financial, and obviously there's some within rugby league that I have. But the one that I want to talk about the most is I am so passionate about playing my second ever Super League game. I managed to play one when I was at Huddersfield, and then I spent a few years in the Championship. I went on loan initially from Huddersfield, and then I signed permanently in the Championship and worked my way at York and then to Bradford, and then back into a promoted Super League side. And I was so passionate about playing my second Super League game, because I feel like I got my first, but I feel like going full circle and getting to cross that whitewash and make, it's not Super League debut, but play my second Super League game would be such an achievement for someone from where I'm from, and for me, having been through what I've been through. But again, I was so passionate about that I set my goals too small. I wrote down on my 2026 goal, play my second Super League game. But that's going back to the point that I said earlier. That goal is too small. I'm not setting myself up for failure, but I should be thinking bigger than that. And if I'm going to set my goal and the barrier and the ceiling at playing one more Super League game than I have before, yeah, it would be absolutely huge for me. And that's what I want to do this year. And I'm so excited about the season ahead. But that shouldn't be my goal. My goal should be much bigger than that. And it does nothing to set small goals. It does absolutely nothing to limit yourself at that small ceiling. So I set that, and I go to myself, it does nothing for you to think small. I need to think bigger. I need to think better than that. And that's really what inspired me to share this message on my podcast, because I do feel like we can get trapped at times in the idea of thinking small and just saying things for the sake of saying things. And again, would I really be the person who I say I am if I am able to reflect on those? So yeah, playing another Super League game for Bradford Bulls would be absolutely unbelievable. And do not get me wrong, I'm not underestimating what it's going to take to get there. But equally, I should have bigger goals for myself of playing more than one. Why shouldn't I? Who says I can't? Who said a kid from Balbriggan can't? Nobody. But that's a self-imposed ceiling that I put on myself, or potentially have. So I am reevaluating my goals as we speak. It does nothing to think small. That is the point that I wrote down. Again, it does nothing to think small. The next thing I wanted to speak about was, which sort of leads into that, is you want to create an anti-vision for your life. So what an anti-vision is basically, I've been working through Dan Coe's article called How to Fix How to Fix Your Entire Life in One Day, which is basically what an anti-vision is. You think about everything that you don't want in life, and what would your life look like if you continued on the path that you're on. Now, this might sound a little bit morbid and a little bit down, but it's all about thinking about, say, if I keep going the way that I'm going, and if nothing changes, nothing changes. So I do the things that I continuously do at the moment. Where does that direction take me? Where do my current habits take me? Because your habits are literally perfect for the life that you have. Your habits have led you to exactly where you are right now. So if nothing changes, nothing changes. If you're not willing to change your habits, nothing's going to change. Your habits are perfect for what you have right now. Your systems are perfect for what you have right now. Sip Drake always says that your systems are perfect for the process that you have right now. So creating this anti-vision is I reflect on, okay, if I keep going the way that I have been in the past and the direction that I'm going in, where does that lead me to? Does that lead me to where I want my goals to be? Or does that leave me stagnant exactly where I am right now? So being able to sort of frame yourself in that anti-vision of, you're running away from something, you're running away from the life you have right now. And listen, someone could be listening to this and say, well, I don't really dislike how I am right now. Happy days. But for me, I want to continually grow, and I'm going to create a frame of mind and write down, right, if I continue on this path, where does that take me in 5, 10, 20 years? Where does my life look? And then obviously I have that big goal, and I've been rewriting my goals as I've been doing this, reflecting on that, because it does nothing to think small. And you're running away from where you don't want to be and running towards something that you want to be. And that should motivate you. And if where you don't want to be is here and where you want to be is here, but you don't get all the way to where you want to be, you've become a much better person in that process and on those iterations of yourself as you've been on the journey. And that's okay. That's absolutely okay, because at the end of the day, if you can reflect on your rugby league career or your sports career or your life or your business and go, you know what, I gave everything, my 100% all, then you look back and you go, you know what, I'm happy, I'm satisfied. I gave everything that I can. I've given my all. And that's something that I really, really pride myself on. And having come full circle, having dropped into the championship and now come back up and I'm now in a Super League environment, I go, right, I have a 1-year deal. I've 1 year to give this my all. I've 1 year to share this journey with everybody who takes time out of their day to watch these podcasts and watch those YouTube videos and watch those videos that I share on social media. I have 1 year to share this process and share my thoughts and articulate my thoughts as best as I can for what I have right now, and sort of share the emotion and the passion that I have for this journey. Because you know what? As I said, I genuinely believe I've been put on this earth to share the highs and lows of all of this. So I think this is going to keep me accountable as well. The final thing that I sort of wrote down is sometimes the strongest motivation is knowing exactly what you refuse to become. That hit me so hard. Sometimes the strongest motivation is knowing exactly what you refuse to become. If you know what you don't want to be, that's half the battle. Working towards a goal is just working towards that person that you want to be, or running away from that person that you know you don't want to be. And that, again, that might sound morbid, but these are the thoughts that empower me the most. The fact that I won't be on this earth forever, and I have an opportunity right now at 25 years old. Nobody who's been in my shoes has got to this opportunity, and that's the beauty of them being my shoes. No one who's in your shoes has been through what you've been through, and that's the beauty of being in your shoes. And you have the opportunity right now to shape your life, because life is like Play-Doh. You know, you can shape it however you want. You can take the deck of cards that you've been dealt and you can stick them down on the table and go, you know what, I don't care whatever has happened to me, I'm drawing the line right now. And that is the most empowering thing, is that you know exactly who you don't want to be. And there's something so special about that and so motivating about running away from that. So that is, I suppose, the end of solo episode. What's the message number 1? I hope that people enjoyed it. I hope there were some good takeaways from the episode. If you take any one real message away, it's that set your goals so high and so scary that they motivate you so much. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you share it with somebody. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. and I will see you all in the next message.